Happy Monday. So today we're going to talk about tips and tricks to make the transition to daycare and back to work after maternity leave as easy as possible. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. I did not transition well. It was such a hard thing. You go from taking care of your beautiful, gorgeous, precious little baby 24/7 to waking up one day and now you got to go back to your big girl job and be a human again and not just a mom. It's hard. It does get better. Everybody says that. When you're in the moment, you don't believe them. I didn't believe them, but it does get better. It does. But it's a long road for some of us. It does get better though. But I made a video, or I'm making a video, of tips and tricks to make life as easy as possible, to answer some questions. I'm somebody that had 1,000 questions, and I watched YouTube videos, and I talked to friends, and I talked to like the director of the daycare, and just asked as many questions as I could. And I'm going to kind of compile those into this video to try to help other people, just because it's a lot. And it doesn't sound like a lot to some. Some people are like, yeah, I got diapers, I got wipes, I got bottles, here's daycare, have a good day. I am somebody that's like, what are the other kids wearing? What do I need to bring, like for toys or this or that? You don't bring toys. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff out there that I didn't know about. So here's going to be a video that's going to hopefully make that transition as easy as possible and answer as many questions that I can, or at least like the weird questions that I had that wasn't really out there. Like, again, what do you send your kid in? But we're going to put all this together in a video to make life as easy as possible. So number one thing is that you need bottles. This is an obvious one. Check your daycare. So they're going to give you a list of things that they require you to bring and that they have there for your child. My daycare, for instance, actually supplies formula if you use a specific type of formula. So they actually provide Similac, just like the normal like Similac. If your child can use that without any issues or drink that without any issues, you actually don't have to do anything but take a bottle, which would be so nice. But my son does not do that. He actually specifically uses Gentle Ease. It's Enfamil, and we have to have that specific one just because he does have a lot of like reflux spitting up. So we have to make all of his bottles ahead of time. I don't know if it's like a state rule or if it's just our childcare facility, but they have strict rules where they cannot mix anything on site. So you have to take all of your bottles with the pre-measured out water and with the formula already in there, like shaken up. They just have to heat it up and go. So you have to have however many bottles that your child needs for the time that they're going to be there. One of the things that they suggested that I think is a really good idea is that you always want to make sure that you have the bottles that you think you're going to need and one extra, just in case something happens and you get stuck at work or you get stuck in traffic. They want to make sure that they have something for your child if it needs be. So what I did a lot of times is our son would take, in the beginning, he would take like 4 bottles, I think, to school, and then we would do an extra one, and the extra one that we did, a lot of times we just use that as our nighttime bottle, so that way it doesn't go to waste. And just to let you know, bottles are good for 24 hours after you fix them. So a lot of times my husband actually preps all the bottles, and he does that the night prior and puts everything in the fridge. That way the next morning I like pick up the lunch box and we go to school. So first thing about bottles is they have to be properly labeled. So we just use like the Dr. Brown bottles, and we put a label on them that is from actually I don't know how to focus that, but it's from a company called Name Bubbles, and it's nice because they're rewritable labels. So in the beginning I did not know these things existed, and I was taking like masking tape and writing everything on there that the school suggested that we write on there every day, and then you peel that off and then I was putting it back on. It was not a great way of life. It made things 10 times harder. So get Name Bubbles. They are nice because they are dishwasher safe. You can put them in buckets of soapy water and they do not come off. He has used these for a good like 5 months, and they have like no wear or tear. They look as good as what they did the first day we stuck them on there. Basically what they are stickers that stay on the bottle at all times, and then you can just write on them. It's kind of like a dry erase marker, but it's more of like a pencil, kind of like crayon-y type device. Our school requires how many ounces are in the bottle, when you want the bottle to be fed, the child's name, and then what's actually in the bottle. So every day we had to write on there his name, how many ounces, Gentle Ease at like 9 o'clock. So these are nice because they already have their name printed on there, and you can obviously like type up what you want. So you can put your first name or last name, combination of both. I put his first and his last name in there, and then I got the ones that actually have like the bottle on the side. I don't know if that's in focus. Is that in focus? So there's like a bottle on the side. So I write like 6 there, and then I write like all of his information on the other side. So this is a super handy way to keep everything nice. They just like wipe off too. So you can just like wipe them off with your hand, or you can wipe them off with a paper towel, and it'll come off at the end of the day. I would suggest putting an extra pencil in his lunchbox, his or her lunchbox, because sometimes they will get smudged and they need to like touch them up. So it helps if you send the pencil with them. Speaking of lunchboxes, you want to make sure that you have a lunchbox that's upright, so that way the bottles can actually just go in, and that way they don't like fall over. Because the bottles, even if they have those stoppers in them, we all know they leak sometimes. So if you have a lunchbox that's sideways and you're putting a lunchbox, or you're putting your bottles in them like this, they will leak. So get a lunchbox that's up and goes down. This lunchbox is just one that we had. I actually am going to link one below that's on Amazon. It had really great reviews, and it's the same dimensions as what this is here. I also, like I said, keep this little bag in here that has, now I'm fumbling, that has extra pencil. So this is just like the little pencil. I don't know if that's going to focus. I don't know how this works. I see people do this like this all the time. Ah, look at that. So it has the little pencil in there, and it's just rewritable. So highly suggest, works great. So lunchbox, another thing that you're going to need obviously is a bag to transport like to and from. So the big thing about this is that it needs to be big enough that you can put their lunchbox in there, you can put wipes in there, you can do whatever you're going to do. They need a bag. So the big thing about the bag is, obviously my son is 8 months old. He can't put this on his back. You don't need to make sure that it's like a baby bag. You can use whatever bag you have at home. My husband and I had a lovely discussion about him needing a bag. He didn't think so. I did. So we ended up with a bag. What's that saying? My husband thought he didn't need a bag. I needed a bag. We compromised and we got a bag. He actually surprised me with the bag. It was really cute. But we got a Yoda bag. This came from Walmart. You can get bags from Walmart, Target, wherever you want to go. The big thing is that it just needs to be functional. It needs to be big enough that you can put his lunchbox in there, and it needs to be big enough that you can put some extra stuff in there as well, like wipes or bibs or extra clothes. I'll go into that in a minute about like what you'll like send to and from school and stuff. But it needs to be big enough that you can put all their stuff, because morning drop off is chaos. Think about it. Most of us have like an 8 o'clock job. So if you have to clock in at 8 o'clock, everybody's dropping their kid off between like 7:15, 7:30, stuff like that. It is chaos in the mornings about drop off. So you need to make sure all their stuff's in a bag and it's labeled with their name on it. That way they know exactly, hey, this is his bag. All this stuff's in there. You're good to go. One of the cute things that's also fun is of the evenings when we go to pick him up, sometimes there's fun little things in there, like they had like an art class that day, or if they, you know, made like, they had little flower pots for like Mother's Day and stuff. So they also send goodies home in there too. So it's just nice to have a bag. That way all of their stuff is confined to and from school. You can write little notes and stuff to your teachers, and they can send notes home that way. You want to have like some bag that they know, hey, this is that kid, and that way they can send you stuff home and they know to look in there. The other thing that you don't think about a lot is that kids go through clothes a lot. So they'll send dirty clothes home in his bag as well. My school requires to send the gallon size storage bags, and you write their name on the outside of them. Obviously they want a clear bag that zips at the top so they can put like their dirty clothes in there. And even if like when they were little, it was most of the time like blowouts, which is just a fun thing. Fun tip, my school actually rinses all their clothes out before they put them in the bags, which is so nice. I thought they were going to send like disgusting clothes home, but they rinse them all. Obviously they're not washed, we still have to wash them, but it's nice they at least take that first step of just rinsing everything, putting it in the bag, and then putting it in his actual book bag to come home. One of the tips and tricks that I like is I actually go to the Dollar Tree to get gallon size bags, because if you think about how often kids go through clothes, now that he's eating, he normally goes through at least one outfit change a day. And if you think about how many gallon bags that is, that can get expensive. So if you go to Dollar Tree, you can get gallon size bags. They're obviously not nice quality. They're much thinner, but it serves the purpose of sending your kids soiled clothes home in a bag. So gallon size bag from the Dollar Tree helps tremendously. So we talked about the bottles, we talked about the lunchbox, the book bag, we got all of that stuff going. The next thing that you want to make sure that you send is wipes and diapers. So big thing about wipes and diapers, I like how our school does it. Basically you send bulk items, and then they basically shoot you a text message every time that things are getting low. So the way that I think it is, because thanks to COVID-19, I've never seen the inside of my child's daycare, but I think the way it's set up is that there's cribs around like the perimeter of a room, and the babies play in the inside like middle portion of it, and then like all of his stuff is in his crib. So he has like his wipes and he has his diapers underneath his crib. So we send everything in bulk. You always want to make sure that you write their name on it. Again, drop-off's crazy. They've got a lot of babies they're taking care of. Make life easy on them. Label everything. That way they don't find some random pack of diapers sitting in the floor and they're like, whose diapers are these? Label them. Make their life easier. You want your child's daycare providers to like you. Make their life easy. You know what I mean? So another thing that my school requires is bibs. They have an amount of bibs that they want you to start out with. So originally I had to send 5 bibs, which I thought sounded like crazy when I first had a baby and I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, 5 bibs, that lasts forever. It lasts for like 30 seconds, especially with a child like mine that spits up all the time. If you think about it, bibs are nice because they always have a cloth on them. So basically they keep bibs on them not only for just eating purposes and drooling purposes, they use them to like wipe up things when they need to. I highly suggest the bandana bibs. Bandana bibs are awesome for just everyday wear. So like for drooling and just keeping them on there and just wiping occasionally. It's not great though for eating. So as they get older and they actually start to have like snack time and food, I would suggest transitioning to more of a traditional bib. I will link both of these down below. The bandana bibs come in various colors as well as what the actual just regular style bibs do. I think we use bandana bibs from like 4 months to probably 6 months, and then at 6 months we transitioned over to a regular bib. Another thing that I will suggest about bibs is think about their purpose. Bibs are supposed to be absorbent. If you have a bib that has some big print on the front of it or has some cute little saying on the front of it, they look darling. I think so. They're just so cute. You could eat them up, but they're not functional. Another thing you want to do is make sure that you label everything. Most things have a little tag on them, so use that as your benefit. Write your name on them. I actually wrote our last name on them. That way we can use them for future kids. Again, your daycare providers are taking care of so many babies at one time, so you want to make sure just make their life easy in case something happens and your kid jerks off his bib and he throws it on the floor. They can pick it up and be like, oh, why is his bib over here? Because he just chucked it across the room. Another thing to think about is what you dress your child in. I personally am somebody that thinks that they need to be comfortable. They're kids, they're rolling around the ground, they're playing with each other, they get so messy, so dirty. I send my kid to school in very, very comfy clothes. I normally send them in like cotton shorts or cotton pants with like a cotton t-shirt or long sleeve shirt, depending on the time of the year. It's also nice to just ask your daycare provider, is it hot in there? Is it cold in there? My son is somebody that is hot all the time, so I know he's gonna be sweaty, so I usually send him in like shorts and a t-shirt or pants and a t-shirt. You always want to make sure that you're trying to dress them as appropriately as you can. It is funny though, just because again my kid runs hot all the time, so during winter like all these parents would bring their kids in and they're like all bundled up and my kid's got like a t-shirt on and pants, and I'm like, I promise he's not cold. Everybody's like, put a hat on that kid, and I'm like, he's sweaty. Do you want to touch him? He's sweating right now. So know your kid, know their environment, just make them comfortable as you can. I'm somebody that is a no shoes club member. I don't put shoes on my toddler or infant. He's an infant now, I think. He's 9 months. I think that's an infant still. But anyways, I don't put shoes on him. They just fall off, and then you've got to potentially worry about trying to pick up both of your shoes at the end of the day, trying to figure out which kid they go with. I just send him in socks. I do get the little socks that have the grippies on the bottom of them. I actually thought that was really cool. I didn't know. This was my first kid. I didn't realize they had that for kids, but if you think about it, by the time they start trying to crawl and walk, they need little grippies on their socks. So I linked those below as well. I got mine from Amazon. They come in a pack with like black, gray, and white. A thing that I would suggest sending to school is a pacifier clip and a pacifier. So my son actually doesn't like pacifiers. He was, when he was little, you would like try to put a pacifier in him and he would like make this face and like spit it out like he was disgusted. So originally I did not send a pacifier with him to school, but then I realized when he started teething, he wanted to chew on something, and they have teething rings there and like little teethers that they keep in the freezer, so they actually give those to the kids when they need them. But I realized that he doesn't suck on a pacifier, but he chews on a pacifier. So I got the one that's like the little silicone beads. You get them on Amazon, and they're nice because I can actually chew on this part. And then the pacifier that I chose is actually full silicone as well. So you can chew on, or he can chew on that as well. He actually usually ends up holding it like this and chewing on the top of it. So even if your child doesn't take a pacifier as like an actual like lovey or like a soothing toy, think about it as teething. That is something that I didn't really think about until I think he picked up a pacifier. Like we had like a toy box, and I think he picked up one day and like started chewing on it, and I was like, oh, like you actually do use a pacifier even though he doesn't use it for like nap time. We talked about diapers, we talked about wipes, we talked about bags, we talked about clothes. Did we hit all of it? I think we might have. Some of the other random things that I didn't think about, like sunscreens, lotions, bug sprays, that stuff. Just check your school's policy. We had to sign a release at 6 months saying that they could apply sunscreen and they could apply bug spray. I'm an advocate for sunscreen. I actually work in a dermatology office and I fully support sunscreen, but check the policies. They supply everything, so we don't have to bring that. Again, we just had to sign the release form just because legality purposes. You got to make sure, basically anything that's a cream, a lot of places deem it a medication, so you have to make sure that they have the rights to apply medications to your child and when they can do that. My son has eczema, and when he's flared really bad, he needs lotion throughout the day, so I just signed, again, a form saying that they could apply lotion. I do send the lotion that I want them to put on him. I personally like Cetaphil, and I have like small little containers of that I send, and normally they're really good about just looking at him if he's flared that day, because a lot of times if you think about it with kids, like they teeth a lot and they just get like rashes around their mouth just from irritation. So even kids that are not eczema prone, they'll just get rashes from just constantly moist teething, pacifiers, all that stuff. But I sent his lotion and they put it on a couple times during the day. So you'll learn as days, go by, like what to do and what not to do, and they're not gonna, make fun of you if you ask a stupid question. Not that they're stupid questions, but you know what I mean. If you ask a question, I'm sure somebody else has asked that question too. So the big thing is just get as comfortable as you can with his providers or her providers. So if you have questions about what to put them in or what to take or what to send them or what not to take, just ask them. I promise you there's probably been somebody else that's asked that question too. There's no silly questions. It's your kid. You want to feel comfortable with what you're doing. So just make the process as easy as you can, so when you go back to work, it's not a catastrophe. It's hard, but it'll get better. That's what everybody says. It'll get better. It does get better. Oh, another thing that I actually liked, I think I watched this maybe on a YouTube video, or maybe my provider for my daycare suggested, I can't remember, but we actually took all of his stuff like 2 or 3 days before he started daycare. Because if you think about it, that first morning, you got a lot. You're trying to get yourself ready. You're trying to get your baby ready. You're trying to get emotionally ready to go drop your kid off for the first time. The last thing you want to do is like come in there and you've got like diapers and wipes and you've got like his lunchbox and you're just like, here's everything. Take all of this stuff a few days before. That way they can get everything set up too, and it makes their transition easier. If his crib's already set up with everything, it makes their life easier. Oh, that's another thing. Laundry services. So my daycare service actually does all of the laundry, like the cribs and everything there, like the crib sheets and everything there. Some of my friends though, they have to take crib sheets every like Monday, and they use those until Friday. They pick them up, they clean them over the weekend, and they take a new set on Monday. So check with your provider about what their policy is about like just like laundering things. But hopefully this video has not been all over the place and you've actually enjoyed it. Hopefully it's helpful. Again, if you take away anything, just do you ask questions, and it does get better and it gets easier. I actually daycare drop-offs and pickups are my favorite now. Obviously pickup's fun because I get to see him at the end of the day and he's so excited to see me, but drop-offs aren't bad now. It makes me so happy when I drop him off. He's like smiling and he wants to go to the girls, and like you can just tell like he has fun there, and they make friends and they have little play circles, and they get to experience so much more than what they'll experience just in your house. So if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's awesome. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you're probably not watching this video, But if you're a working mom and you drop your kid off for daycare, just know that they're having a fun time. You know, they're making little relationships and they are learning new things outside your house. They're getting used to the world. They're getting used to not being with you 24/7. So as much as it's a transition for you, it's a transition for them too, and it's a good thing. So just remember, you are doing good. You're a great mama, and it's going to get easier and you'll survive. We all do.